We're taught to use the tools and technology around us. So in the year of 2025, I turned to our good friend, ChatGPT. I wrote, "Dear Chat, I need help writing a student address speech at the end of the year banquet for my MBA program. It will be delivered to my fellow classmates as well as guests and esteemed faculty. What are some best elements to incorporate into my speech and other recommendations for delivery to this student address? Please use professional vocabulary, serious yet humorous tone, and remove all end dashes. Thank you so much." I always like to say please and thank you to my robot, as I feel it just makes it feel more appreciated and I get better answers. The following is Chat's response. "That sounds like a great opportunity and a meaningful moment to share amongst the end of the year. Your end of your MBA journey and a strong student address should strike a balance between being thoughtful, personal, and yet resounding, and have a solid message at the end. First, it should include gratitude. Thank your classmates, faculty, program staff, family, and supporters. Acknowledge the sacrifices and effort made, and that this experience was only possible through their sacrifice for yourself and for others. Acknowledged." Second, reflect on the collective experience of the cohorts, the milestones, the late nights, the group projects, and speak about the highs and lows with honesty and humor. I'm not sure that I should speak about Meteor Crater with such honesty and humor. However, there were definitely a lot of late nights, and the experience overall definitely brought us much, much closer together. Finally, include a personal touch by sharing a story or a moment that captures the spirit of the program and what you went through academically, but also personally. It can also be a chance for a dramatic turning point in your speech where you go off script, and sometimes signified by crumpling up the notes or dramatically changing tone and focus. But at this point, I realized that I shouldn't follow ChatGPT's recommendation, and I should write an original speech from the heart. So then I came to my second draft of my MBA speech, where I decided to start out by telling the story of my first interaction with anybody at NAU, or any member of this cohort, I should be specific. It was a summer Zoom call in our session prior to meeting everyone. I had just gotten introduced to my teammates that would then later become my team for the rest of the semester. And I was having a Zoom conversation with a few members of our team, Seb, Christy, Ben, and Connor. I asked my friend Connor, "What are you most excited about for this MBA program?" And he said, "Oh, let me tell you, any day Shelby is going to send us an email with the code to our lounge. So our specific code that is unique to us to get into the MBA lounge." Now, not having done my undergrad here at NAU, I had no idea that there was an MBA lounge. And little did I know it was so prestigious and so exclusive that it warranted that much enthusiasm. So I was very excited to hear that there was fridge, snacks, little couches for us, computers. It's an amazing lounge. I would thank the faculty personally for giving us that lounge. But then, of course, Connor returned the question. He said, "Well, why did you choose to come to NAU for your MBA?" And I had to think about the answer to that question because it is a little bit difficult, and I wanted to speak candidly and be realistic. I mean, there are some very real reasons why I decided to come to MBA. I was thinking affordability, the accelerated program. It could get me back into the working world faster, and I could get a better job and make more money. Because that's what this is really about, right? Is getting a great job and making more money. But what time in that MBA lounge taught me, amongst my peers, the late nights, the work every single day in the afternoon on Meteor Crater, business analytics, finance, and all those great subjects that we have come to enjoy deeply, is that life wasn't meant to be lived behind a computer screen. In all honesty, if I wanted a cheaper MBA or a faster MBA, I could have done it online. Many people do. It's very possible to get one while you continue to work and continue to make money. But at the end of the day, life isn't meant to be lived in an 800 square foot apartment away from everyone else. All of us in this room, in this cohort, had our education affected in some way by the COVID-19 pandemic. For some of us, it was their very last year of undergrad, like myself. For some of us, it was 8th grade. Although the various different academic effectiveness changes from person to person, I realized that the true reason I wanted to come to NAU for my MBA was that in-person education is truly the most valuable aspect of this program. And being in this cohort with you all has been my greatest education and my greatest learning experience throughout this entire program. Life was never meant to be a single-player game. The biggest lesson that we could possibly learn by choosing to go to school with those that are vastly different than us are that who we choose to spend our time with the most is the most valuable choice that we can make in life. Who we work with, who we laugh with, and who we go through the hard times with. These are the choices that will inevitably define success in our lives. It won't be the title that we have or the end number at the end of our payslip. Life is nothing if it's not shared with those that have deep meaning to us and that we care deeply for. If you look around the room at our faculty, a collection of the smartest people that we know, and ask them to tell us about the most memorable model or framework or gap principle that they had in their coursework, I think it would take a second for them to give us an answer. However, I think every single person in this room, if we were to ask them, they could tell us the name and remember the face of a person that had a memorable and lasting impact on them during their time in school. So if there's anything that I want you to take away from this year that we all shared together, it's a few quotes that I've dedicated my life to living by. The first one is control what you can control. I know that we're all going into an uncertain job market, and there's many different global economic factors that are going to affect how the next few years of our lives shape out. Even though getting a job is hard, climbing up the corporate ladder can be very daunting, and the relationships that we have with the people we know now might change. I want us all to be aware that we can show up every day, the attitude that we choose to bring every day, and how we treat others is very much in our control. Second, although fact-based knowledge fades with time, such as whatever a Black-Scholes model is, the impact that we have on the people in our lives never will fade. How we treat strangers, our friends, and the people we love will define our legacy long after we're gone. And lastly, no amount of money ever bought a minute more of time. As we go into these working lives, we will be consumed by the work that we do, how important it is, and how much money we will make. Now, those are important factors to leading a life that matters to each of us. However, they're not the defining moments of our life. How we choose to spend the moments that aren't spent at work is just as important as the work that we do. And who we choose to spend those moments with will forever change our lives. I'm so lucky to have spent all these moments with you throughout this MBA program. Thank you all for being my classmates. Thank you, faculty, for being my teachers. And I'm deeply grateful for being accepted into this MBA program. Thank you so much.